Have you ever woken up feeling like you just didn't quite bounce back the way you used to? Maybe you feel a little stiff, or a little dizzy, or perhaps that first cup of coffee just doesn't chase the fog away like it once did. It's something we all notice as the years go by. Our bodies speak to us in a different language than they did when we were 40 or 50. And here's the thing about that morning voice, it's not something to ignore. I was speaking with a friend recently about a neighbor of hers, a vibrant 72-year-old man named George. George was the kind of person who was always doing something, tinkering in the garage, walking his little dog, or stopping to chat with everyone on the block. He seemed healthy, he seemed happy. But just yesterday morning, George passed away. It was sudden. It was a shock to the whole community. And as we talked about it, piecing together the morning it happened, a few things stood out. Things that George did every single morning, without fail. Things that might have seemed harmless, even healthy, but at our age, can sometimes be the very things that work against us. That conversation really stuck with me. It made me think about the delicate balance our bodies maintain, especially after we cross that threshold of 70. We're not fragile, not by any means, but we are wiser, and our bodies have earned the right to be treated with a little more thoughtfulness. So today, I want to share with you 5 common morning habits, things many of us do without a second thought, that can pose a real risk as we get older. And more importantly, I want to show you what you can do instead to protect that precious engine that keeps you going, ensuring you have many more mornings to enjoy. Let's start with the very first thing most of us do when we wake up. The alarm clock goes off, the sunlight peeks through the curtains, and what's the first thing you do? If you're like most people, you probably throw the covers off and swing your legs out of bed to start the day. It's automatic, right? Your feet hit the floor, and you're off to the bathroom or the kitchen. But for someone over 70, this sudden movement can be one of the most dangerous things you do all day. Think of your body as having been in a state of deep rest for 7 or 8 hours. Your heart rate has been slow, your blood pressure has dropped, and your blood has been circulating at a very gentle pace. When you go from lying flat to standing up in a matter of seconds, gravity pulls that blood down into your legs. Your heart and your blood vessels have to work overtime to push that blood back up to your brain. In a younger person, this happens so fast you don't even notice it. But as we age, our blood vessels become a little less flexible, a little slower to respond. This can lead to something called orthostatic hypotension, a sudden drop in blood pressure when you stand up. What does that feel like? For some, it's just a brief moment of dizziness, a little whoa as they steady themselves on the nightstand. For others, it can be much more serious. It can cause them to faint, to fall, and we all know what a fall can mean at this stage of life. But even if you don't faint, that sudden strain on your cardiovascular system can be a shock. For someone with undiagnosed high blood pressure or narrowed arteries, and many people have these without even knowing it, that morning jolt can be the final straw. Instead of thinking of it as getting out of bed, I want you to start thinking of it as greeting the day from a seated position. Here's a simple, life-changing habit you can adopt starting tomorrow morning. When you wake up, don't rush. Spend the first minute just lying there and acknowledging the new day. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. You're waking up your circulation slowly. Then, slowly push yourself up to a sitting position on the edge of the bed. Just sit there for another minute. Let your legs dangle. Move your ankles in circles. Let your body adjust to being upright. After that minute, you can slowly stand up, using your arms to help push yourself up if you need to. This simple act, the 1-minute sit, gives your blood vessels that crucial moment they need to tighten up and maintain your blood pressure. It's a gentle wake-up call for your entire system, rather than a sudden jolt. It's a small change, but it's one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself and start your day on a stable, grounded note. Now, once you're up and moving, what's the next thing on the agenda? For George, it was always heading straight for the coffee pot. And I know for so many of us, that first cup of coffee is sacred. It's the warm hug that starts the day. But here's something that might surprise you. That cup of coffee, enjoyed first thing on an empty stomach, might be doing more harm than good. You see, as we age, our digestion naturally slows down. The production of stomach acid can change, and for many of us, the protective lining of our stomach becomes more delicate. Coffee is highly acidic. When you pour that strong, black coffee into an empty stomach first thing in the morning, it can irritate that lining. Over time, this can lead to chronic indigestion, heartburn, and even contribute to more serious issues like gastritis. But it's not just about your stomach. Coffee is also a stimulant. It raises your heart rate and your blood pressure. Remember how we just talked about giving your body time to adjust to being upright? Your blood pressure is already naturally higher in the early morning hours due to your body's hormonal cycles. Adding a strong stimulant on top of that can cause an unnecessary spike, putting extra stress on your heart and arteries right at the start of the day. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up your coffee. Please don't think that. I love my morning coffee too. But let's be smart about it. Think of it as a treat to be enjoyed after you've given your body some foundation. The best thing you can put in your stomach first thing in the morning is warm water. Just a glass of warm, not hot, water with a squeeze of lemon if you like it. This is like a signal to your entire digestive system to gently wake up. It hydrates you after a long night of sleep, helps to flush out your system, and prepares your stomach for food. So, the new routine could be, you do your 1-minute sit on the edge of the bed, you stand up slowly, and then the very first thing you consume is that glass of warm water. Give it about 15 to 20 minutes. Take that time to do some light stretching, look out the window, or just sit quietly. Then, after your body has had that gentle hydration, you can enjoy your coffee with your breakfast. Having food in your stomach along with the coffee buffers the acid and slows the absorption of the caffeine, giving you a much smoother, more sustained energy boost without the harsh spike. This brings us to a third habit that often goes hand in hand with the early morning rush. It's something that, for many of us, has been drilled into our heads as the most important meal of the day. But the way we approach it can make all the difference. I'm talking about breakfast. And for so many people our age, breakfast is often skipped entirely, or it's just a piece of toast and jam with that coffee we just talked about. Skipping breakfast, or having one that's almost entirely made of sugar and refined carbohydrates, like white toast, sugary cereal, or pastries, can send your body on a blood sugar roller coaster before you've even truly started your day. You eat that toast, your blood sugar spikes quickly, your body releases a surge of insulin to deal with it, and then your blood sugar comes crashing down a few hours later. That crash leaves you feeling tired, irritable, and craving even more sugar. It's a vicious cycle. But more importantly, after a night of fasting, your body needs fuel. It needs protein and healthy fats to rebuild tissues, maintain muscle mass, and keep your brain sharp. Our bodies are less efficient at processing protein as we age, which means we actually need to be more intentional about getting enough of it, especially at breakfast. A breakfast of just carbs is like trying to build a house with only wallpaper. It looks okay for a minute, but there's no structure, nothing solid to hold it together. Instead, think about building a breakfast that will sustain you. If you're not a big breakfast person, that's okay. It doesn't have to be a huge meal. But try to include a source of protein. That could be a couple of eggs, some Greek yogurt, a small handful of nuts, or even some peanut butter on that toast instead of jam. Adding a healthy fat, like avocado or a drizzle of olive oil, is also fantastic for your brain and will keep you feeling full and satisfied for hours. This kind of breakfast stabilizes your blood sugar, gives you steady energy, and provides the raw materials your body needs to keep you strong and vibrant. So, to recap what we've touched on so far, we're learning to greet the day with a slow, mindful transition, starting with that vital 1-minute sit. We're swapping that first thing in the morning coffee for a glass of warm water to gently wake up our insides. And we're rethinking breakfast, moving away from the quick carbs and building a meal with protein and healthy fats to fuel our bodies properly. These are the first steps to turning a potentially dangerous morning into a foundation for a day full of energy and strength. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you even more, something as simple as making the bed, and why, after 70, it might be a habit worth breaking. And building a meal with protein and healthy fats to fuel our bodies properly. These are the first steps to turning a potentially dangerous morning into a foundation for a day full of energy and strength. Now, let's talk about something that might surprise you even more, something as simple as making the bed, and why, after 70, it might be a habit worth breaking. I can already hear some of you saying, "But I've made my bed every morning for 60 years. It's the first thing I do." And I understand that. There's a real sense of order and accomplishment in that simple task. It tidies up the room and makes you feel put together. But let's think about what happens when we make the bed. You're usually leaning over, reaching across the mattress, tugging at heavy sheets and blankets. For many of us, especially if we have any stiffness in our backs or hips, that first big stretch and bend of the day can be a setup for injury. Your muscles and joints have been at rest all night. They're cold. They haven't had a chance to warm up and lubricate yet. Asking them to perform a task that involves twisting, reaching, and lifting, sometimes while you're still a bit off balance from just getting up, is like asking a cold rubber band to stretch to its full length immediately. It's much more likely to snap. But there's another reason, and this one is less about your muscles and more about your overall well-being. Think about what happens in your bed while you sleep. You shed skin cells, you sweat, and dust mites thrive in that warm, moist environment. When you make your bed first thing in the morning, you trap all that moisture underneath the covers. You create a perfect little incubator for those dust mites all day long. If you instead leave your bed unmade, pulling the covers back to expose the sheets to the air, you allow that moisture to evaporate. The bedding dries out, and the dust mite population decreases significantly. This can be a game changer for anyone with allergies, asthma, or even just sensitive skin that gets itchy at night. So, what's the healthier habit? It's simple. When you get up, instead of immediately straightening the covers, just pull them back. Drape the top sheet and comforter over the foot of the bed or fold them down to let the bottom sheet air out. Give your bedroom a chance to breathe. Then, after you've had your breakfast, after you've done some gentle movement and your body is warmed up, if making the bed is important to you, you can do it then. But even better, you might just decide to leave it until after your morning shower, or you could adopt a new routine of only making it once a week on laundry day. The key is to give your body time to wake up before asking it to do physical work, and to give your bedding time to air out for a healthier sleep environment tonight. This idea of warming up our bodies before we ask them to work leads us perfectly to the next point. And this one is very close to my heart because it's something so many of us were taught was the pinnacle of good health. I'm talking about morning exercise. For generations, we've been told to get up and get moving, to get that blood pumping. And that's true, movement is life. But the type of movement we do in that first hour after waking, especially after 70, needs a second look. George, the gentleman I mentioned earlier, was a walker. Every morning, rain or shine, he would be out the door with his dog for a brisk 30-minute walk. It was his ritual. And walking is wonderful, it truly is. But here's what we need to understand. In the early morning, our bodies are not at their peak performance. Our core body temperature is lower. Our muscles are tight. Our balance might not be as sharp as it will be later in the day. And most importantly, our blood is thicker and more viscous in the morning due to overnight dehydration. This means the heart has to work a little harder to pump it through the body. For a younger person, a brisk walk is a great way to start the day. For someone over 70, heading straight out the door for a power walk, without any preparation, can put a sudden and significant strain on the cardiovascular system. It can elevate blood pressure too quickly and, in some cases, even increase the risk of cardiac events in those who are vulnerable. The joints, too, are not ready for impact. The cartilage in our knees and hips acts like a sponge. Overnight, that sponge is wrung out. It needs time and gentle movement to soak up fluid and become plump and cushioning again. When you go for a brisk walk on dry joints, you're creating friction and wear that you don't need. So, does this mean we should stop walking? Absolutely not. But we need to change our approach. Think of your morning movement not as exercise but as waking up your body. The first thing should be gentle, internal movement. We already talked about the 1-minute sit and the ankle circles. After you've been up for a bit, before you even think about going outside, spend 5 or 10 minutes doing some very light stretching. This isn't about touching your toes or holding deep stretches. This is about moving each joint through its range of motion to lubricate it. Roll your shoulders forward and back. Gently turn your head from side to side. Make circles with your hips. Do some gentle leg swings, holding onto a chair for support. You're sending a signal to every part of your body that says, "We're going to start moving now, get ready." You're warming up the engine before you put it in gear. After this gentle warm-up, if you want to go for a walk, that's wonderful. But consider making it a stroll for the first 5 to 10 minutes. A leisurely pace where you can breathe easily and enjoy the morning air. Let your body dictate when it's ready to pick up the pace, if at all. Some days, a gentle stroll is exactly what you need. Other days, you might feel like walking a little faster. The key is to listen, not to push. The goal of morning movement after 70 shouldn't be to burn the most calories or to get your heart rate to a certain number. The goal should be to improve mobility, enhance circulation, and start your day feeling good in your body, not feeling like you've just finished a workout. This brings us to a fourth habit that often catches people off guard, and it has to do with what we do immediately after that walk or that gentle movement. It's the morning shower. For many of us, a hot shower is one of life's great pleasures. It washes away the sleep, soothes the muscles, and prepares us to face the world. But as with everything else we've talked about, the way we shower needs a little adjustment as we get older. The biggest danger here is the temperature. A very hot shower might feel amazing, but it can be deceptive. Hot water causes your blood vessels to dilate, or widen, near the surface of your skin. This sends a rush of blood away from your core and towards your skin. For a younger person, this is no problem. Their heart and blood vessels adjust quickly. But for us, this sudden shift in blood flow can cause a significant and rapid drop in blood pressure. Combined with the steam, which can make it hard to breathe, this can lead to feeling lightheaded, dizzy, or even faint while you're standing up in a slippery shower or bath. It's a recipe for a dangerous fall. Also, our skin changes as we age. It becomes thinner, more delicate, and loses natural oils. Very hot water strips away these oils even faster, leading to dry, itchy, and cracked skin, which can be a gateway for infection. So, let's talk about the safer, smarter way to enjoy that morning cleanse. First, keep the water temperature warm, not hot. It should feel comfortable, not scalding. A good rule of thumb is if the water is making your skin turn red, it's too hot. Second, consider the order of operations. Instead of standing under the hot spray for a long time, get in, get wet, do your washing, and get out. Keep it efficient. And here's a step that is absolutely crucial. Before you even step out of the shower, turn the water to cool for just the last 30 seconds. This doesn't have to be freezing cold, just cool or tepid. This simple act helps to gently constrict your blood vessels again, which helps stabilize your blood pressure and sends that blood flow back to your core and your brain. It gives your cardiovascular system a gentle nudge back to its normal state, making you much less likely to feel dizzy when you step out onto that bath mat. It also feels invigorating and is great for your skin and hair, sealing the cuticles and leaving you feeling refreshed. After you turn off the water, don't jump out immediately. Stand there for a moment, holding onto a secure grab bar or the edge of the sink if you need to. Let any excess water drip off, and give your body another moment to adjust. Then, when you step out, dry off gently, patting your skin rather than rubbing it vigorously, to protect that delicate skin. And if you can, follow up with a good moisturizer right away while your skin is still slightly damp, to lock in that hydration. It's a wonderful act of self-care that protects you from the inside out. So, we've talked about airing out the bed and giving our bodies time to warm up before exercise. We've also covered how to make that morning shower a safe and rejuvenating ritual rather than a risky one. These are all small shifts in perspective that can have a profound impact on how we feel and how safe we are. Now, let's move on to the final, and perhaps most important, habit of the morning. It's one that connects our physical health directly to our emotional and mental well-being. And it has to do with something we all do the moment we wake up, something that can set the tone for our entire day, for better or for worse. It's one that connects our physical health directly to our emotional and mental well-being. And it has to do with something we all do the moment we wake up, something that can set the tone for our entire day, for better or for worse. I'm talking about the very first thing many of us reach for in the morning, often before we even swing our legs out of bed. For some, it's the TV remote to catch the morning news. For others, it's the smartphone or tablet to check emails, weather, or social media. And for many, it's the newspaper on the doorstep. We want to know what's happening in the world. We want to feel connected. But what is the nature of that information we're inviting into our brains first thing in the morning? Think about it. The news, by its very definition, is almost always about what's gone wrong. A crisis here, a conflict there, a political scandal, an economic downturn, a tragedy down the street. It's designed to grab our attention, and it does so by triggering our stress response. When we wake up, our brains are in a unique state. We've just come from the deep, restorative rest of sleep. Our brainwave patterns are slow. We are, in a sense, a blank slate, open and vulnerable to whatever input we give it first. If the very first thing we feed our minds is a dose of fear, anxiety, and anger, what do you think happens to our bodies? That stress response doesn't just stay in our heads. It's a physical cascade. Our bodies release cortisol and adrenaline. Our heart rate increases, our blood pressure goes up, our muscles tense. We are literally starting our day in a state of low-grade fight or flight. For a younger person, this might be manageable. But for us, after 70, when our cardiovascular system is already working with less flexibility, this daily morning jolt of stress can be incredibly damaging. It wears us down over time. It contributes to chronic inflammation, high blood pressure, and anxiety. George, from what I was told, was a news junkie. Every morning, the first thing he did was turn on the television to a 24-hour news channel. He'd watch it while he made his coffee, while he sat at the kitchen table. It was his constant companion. And while we can't say that this single habit caused what happened, we have to look at the cumulative effect. A body under chronic, low-level stress every single morning is a body that is constantly being asked to run a race it never gets to finish. So, what's the healthier alternative? It's not about sticking your head in the sand and ignoring the world. It's about being intentional about what you let in, and more importantly, when you let it in. Think of the first 30 to 60 minutes of your day as sacred time. It's your time. It's a time to set the tone for yourself, to cultivate a sense of peace and groundedness before you invite the chaos of the world in. Instead of reaching for the remote or your phone, what if you reached for something else? What if the first voice you heard in the morning was your own? You could simply sit quietly with that warm glass of water we talked about. Look out the window. Notice the color of the sky. Listen to the birds. Feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. This is a form of mindfulness, and it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your mental and physical health. Or, you could read a page or two from a book that uplifts you, poetry, inspiring essays, a spiritual text. You could listen to a few minutes of calming music, or a piece of music you love that brings you joy. You could write down 3 things you're grateful for in a little notebook. It sounds simple, and it is. But this simple act of gratitude shifts your brain from a state of scarcity and fear to a state of abundance and appreciation. It tells your nervous system, it's safe. We are okay. After you've had that quiet time, after you've had your breakfast, after you've moved your body gently, then you can check in with the world. By that point, you are centered. You are grounded. You have a foundation of peace within you. The news might still be upsetting, but you will receive it from a place of strength, not from a place of vulnerability. You'll be able to observe it without it penetrating your core and ruining your entire day. You'll be able to say, "That's a difficult situation," without your body going into a full stress response. This brings us full circle, doesn't it? We started by talking about the physical dangers of jumping out of bed too fast, and we've ended by talking about the mental and emotional dangers of jumping into the world's problems too fast. It's all connected. The body, the mind, the spirit, they're not separate. How we treat ourselves in the first hour of the day echoes through every hour that follows. Looking back at these 5 habits, they all share a common thread. It's not about doing less. It's about doing things with more awareness, more intention, and more kindness towards ourselves. It's about swapping the rush for a rhythm. It's about understanding that our bodies are not the same as they were at 50, and that's not a loss, it's a piece of wisdom. They're asking us to be more gentle, more patient, and more loving. So, let's quickly revisit the gentle path we've laid out. We start with the 1-minute sit on the edge of the bed, giving our blood pressure a chance to stabilize. Then we reach for a glass of warm water to gently hydrate and wake up our digestion, saving that beloved coffee for a little later, with food. We leave the bed unmade, letting the sheets air out and saving our backs from that early morning stretch. We approach movement with a warm-up first, going for a stroll instead of a power walk, listening to what our bodies need. We make our showers warm, not hot, and we finish with a cool rinse to stabilize our blood pressure before carefully stepping out. And finally, we protect that first sacred hour of the day, filling our minds with peace and gratitude before we invite the world in. These aren't rules written in stone. They're suggestions, gentle invitations to treat yourself with the same care and compassion you would show to someone you love dearly. Because you are someone dearly loved. You are the author of your own story, and you get to decide how each chapter begins. I think about George, and I think about how his story touched so many people. It reminds us that our time here is precious, and each morning is a gift. The question is not just about how to avoid the things that can harm us, but how to fill our mornings with the things that nourish us. What makes you feel alive? Is it the smell of coffee brewing? Is it the sight of the sun rising over the trees? Is it the sound of a loved one's voice? Whatever it is, invite more of that into your mornings. Your body has carried you through over 7 decades of life. It has loved, lost, laughed, and learned. It deserves to be treated with reverence. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, I hope you'll pause for just a moment. Take a breath. Place a hand on your heart and feel it beating. Thank your body for another day. And then, slowly, gently, begin. I'd love to hear from you. What is one small thing you do in the morning that makes you feel good? Or, is there a habit you've been thinking of changing after listening to this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your stories inspire all of us, and they create a beautiful community of support. If you found this conversation helpful, please click the like button. It helps more people in our age group find this content and start their own journey toward healthier, happier mornings. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We're building a library of videos designed specifically for us, covering everything from simple exercises you can do at home to delicious, brain-boosting recipes and tips for navigating this vibrant stage of life with grace and energy. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Be kind to yourself, listen to your body, and remember, it's never too late to start a new, healthy habit. Here's to many more beautiful mornings ahead, and here's to living your best life at any age. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.